Welcome to today's explainer. You know that incredibly frustrating feeling when you swear, like absolutely promise yourself that you're going to make a better choice this time, and then you immediately turn around and do the exact opposite? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if I told you that the grandest, most elaborate deception you will ever face in your entire life isn't coming from a stranger or a rival or some faceless corporation? Imagine instead that it is being carefully constructed entirely from within. Today, we are exploring a cinematic premise that happens to be entirely real: internal sabotage and the hidden architecture of self-deception. The unsettling reality that your own brain can sometimes be your absolute biggest enemy. We are going to map out the exact mechanics of how our minds work against us, uncovering the specific psychological facts that keep us trapped.
What if your biggest enemy is you? It's kind of a haunting question, right? I want you to hold on to that thought, because by the end of this explainer, I am going to share a psychological truth so fundamentally disruptive, it might actually make you lose faith in your own perception. We love to think we are the captains of our own ship, rationally steering our daily decisions. But what if the very instrument you use to perceive reality is actively sabotaging you? Let's uncover the first hidden trick your biology plays on you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Wired for Repeated Mistakes.
Like I said earlier, we've absolutely all been there. You swear you'll never do that one specific thing again. Maybe it's texting that incredibly toxic ex at 2 a.m., or maybe it's just hitting snooze 5 times and totally ruining your morning routine. You eventually wake up and blame it on a lack of willpower, right? You think you're just weak. But the source material tells us there is a much deeper architectural flaw at play here. Step 1, you make a mistake. Now, when you keep making the exact same mistake, our source reveals a genuinely terrifying fact. It's not just a simple casual habit. Your brain has literally been set to that pattern. Think about the word set. It's exactly like pouring wet concrete. Once that initial error occurs and gets repeated, your brain lays down a permanent blueprint. It locks into that configuration physically. So by the time we reach step 3, the repeated habit, you aren't just casually slipping up. You are following a deeply programmed track that your own mind painstakingly established. You are fighting an enemy that has already rewritten your internal code. I know, it sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it's just our biology.
Moving right along to Section 2, the negative memory trap.
If our brain betrays us in our own personal actions, it acts as a complete double agent when it comes to our relationships with others. Think about the people we really like, our friends, our partners, the people we hold dearest in the world. You would think that love and affection would soften our memories of them, right? Well, the source material gives us a completely counterintuitive psychological fact. We actually tend to remember the mistakes of the people we like more. Imagine your absolute best friend. They've helped you move apartments on a sweltering July afternoon, they've supported your career, they've literally been your rock. But your brain inexplicably forces you to hyperfixate on that one time they made a thoughtless, slightly passive-aggressive joke 5 years ago. Why? Because the brain gives negative traits extra importance as a warped survival mechanism. Your mind actively highlights and bookmarks the flaws and errors of the people you cherish the most. It takes their negative traits and underlines them in thick, heavy red ink. It's a mechanism that forces you to fixate on the bad, even when your heart desperately wants to focus on the good. It's totally unfair, yet entirely automatic.
Which brings us to Section 3, Paralyzed by Self-Doubt.
And if all of that wasn't enough, we arrive at the most intimate form of sabotage. This one strikes right at the moment we are most vulnerable, right before we attempt something new. Picture this. You are stepping up to a podium to give a major presentation, or you're hovering your mouse over the submit button for a dream job application. Right in that split second, your brain whispers, or sometimes shouts, you can't do it. That is self-doubt. But now, what's absolutely fascinating here is what the source material tells us about this moment. This isn't the universe telling you no. This is you stopping yourself. Your brain is acting as a locked deadbolt on a door before you even take a single step into the room. It's not a lack of ability or talent. It is your own mind preemptively shutting down your potential to protect you from the mere possibility of failure. It's essentially saying, hey, if we don't try, we can't fail. So I'm going to convince you that you can't.
All right, here is Section 4, Blinded by Total Trust. We've seen how the brain locks us into bad patterns, how it highlights the negative in those we like, and how it paralyzes us with self-doubt. But now we arrive at Fact 4, the devastating fact I teased at the very beginning of this explainer, the one that will genuinely make you question your own grip on reality: automatic fault ignoring. The source states that when you trust someone deeply, your brain automatically starts ignoring their faults. Just let that truly sink in for a second. It happens automatically. It's a literal blindfold your mind ties around its own eyes. Think about a time you completely missed massive, glaring red flags in a past relationship or a toxic friendship. You look back and wonder, how on earth was I so blind? Well, the source is incredibly clear. That is exactly why. Even after being deceived, you don't always see things clearly in the moment. You could have all the evidence in the world sitting right in front of you, screaming at you. But if your brain has triggered this automatic trust override, it will literally edit your reality in real time. It deletes the red flags. It aggressively erases the warning signs. You lose faith in yourself because you realize you cannot always trust your own eyes when your brain has already decided to look the other way.
So, Section 5, questioning your own mind. So, where does all this leave us? If our internal architecture is built with so many trapdoors and hidden mirrors, how do we successfully navigate our own lives without constantly self-sabotaging? Look, the only way to combat these automatic blindfolds is through radical, intentional self-awareness. The goal here isn't to walk away feeling defeated by your own psychology. Quite the opposite. The source material tells us that knowing these hidden tricks of the brain will help you understand yourself in a completely new, empowering way. By identifying the pattern, you can finally start to break the concrete habit. By recognizing the negative memory trap, you can actively choose to focus on the positive track record of your loved ones. By hearing that internal voice of self-doubt and recognizing it as a false alarm, you can push right through it. And by knowing about automatic fault ignoring, you can strive for genuine clarity even when the truth hurts. Radical self-awareness is the hammer that shatters the glass. Understanding the trick is the absolutely essential first step to beating the illusion.
If you found this breakdown of our internal sabotage as fascinating and mind-bending as I did, hit that follow button, drop a like, and leave a comment down below. We are constantly breaking down more psychological blueprints and deep diving into facts like this every single day.
Based on everything we've just unpacked today, the deeply set patterns, the unfair memory traps, the paralyzing self-doubt, and the automatic blindfolds of trust, it's a question that demands an honest answer. So as you go about the rest of your day, making decisions and interacting with the people you love, ask yourself, are you controlling your brain or is it controlling you? Think about it.